I just came from the gym. So pardon my aesthetic with Regina Hall in 2020 talking to Kevin Hart on that Zoom call. I'm trying my best to get this content out because I didn't realize how many days had already passed since the last time I posted. I had homework to do. I finished it though. I feel pretty good about it, and I got my two final papers coming up. And yeah, they both gonna be like anywhere between 10 to 20 pages, and I'm not really looking forward to it. Like my brain be tired. um and in light of that, as a matter of fact, so happy pre-Monday or happy Monday, depending on when you see this, because it could go out Sunday night, but even if it go out Sunday night, it's more likely that you're going to see it on Monday. So I want you to celebrate your Monday. We're going to plant a seed of gratitude and happiness. I was listening to the word today, and he was talking about the danger of entitlement. And essentially, it was a conversation about changing your mindset to the spirit of gratitude, because in a time where we are seeing people that are losing their opportunities to work and have the means that they need, accept the burden of your responsibility with the silver lining that, you know what, I have my needs met right now. And this is not my perfect circumstance. And I think that it's important to know that you can be grateful and not necessarily be fulfilled or happy with what it is that you have right now. And you can transition from the state of being not quite as happy as you would be to being happy while still expressing gratitude. So be happy, be fulfilled, be in love with life as best as you can. But yeah, so hey everybody, thank you for coming back. Thank you for hanging out with me. You know I appreciate you very, very much. And speaking of being tired and working and all of these things, I was watching this clip on this channel today.
I don't think people without kids realize how much free time they actually have. Like, they are practically on vacation 24/7. And you don't realize that until you have kids and you have no free time ever. Now, don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my kids, but I don't get a lot of free time, which I completely understand. I signed up for. But it's just funny because, like, I have friends that don't have kids, and I just get a kick out of hearing them say, like, oh, I'm so tired or I'm so busy. And I really try not to be that friend that's like, oh, well, girl, imagine if this, imagine it. Like, I despise people like that because at the end of the day, everyone has problems, everyone has issues, everyone has a to-do list, and they can get overwhelmed and be tired. But I'm just saying, if you're watching this and you don't have kids, embrace the free time, because once you do have kids, there will be little to no free time, and the time that you get with them is amazing. It's I prayed for this, I asked God for this, so I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying, a person without kids free time is completely different than a person who has kids free time. So take advantage now while you can. I don't think
And so now we are having a discussion about the child-free woman versus the with child woman. Um, and here is what I wanted to say about this, right? So in psychology, they teach us this thing about understanding in detail or thoroughly, understanding perspective, empathizing, that sort of thing. And hmm, I want to be cautious when I have this conversation because I don't want to be insulting to people that have children or people that don't have children for that matter. Um, I am not a parent, but I would make the argument that I am easily one of the best moms that I know. Big mama, no kids, my bad. But honestly, I say that from a place of just reflecting on relationships and what they mean, right? So, what I will say about the having children conversation, deciding to be a parent, we're at a juncture in our life where it really, really is a choice. And one of the things that they are saying in the TikTok space and, just across social media platforms is that, people with children, try to invite people into the club of having children. And they know that they're not really having a good time, almost like a misery loves company kind of thing. And essentially, the stress that they exude based on having children incentivizes people that don't have kids to just continue on and not have any kids. Now, here's what I will say. Me personally, I once upon a time was definitely a person that was looking forward to having children. And I will also be very honest in the fact that I would be lying if I said that I was always responsible in the preventative action of not having children. But what I've learned is that God is very good to me. God is very good to me. And at this juncture in my life, I can say that I am not pressed about having kids. And even further than not being pressed about having kids. Because if I were to get knocked up or anything like that, it's really not an issue for me. Because again, like full badge on my chest, like I'm like the best mom that I know. And I say that because I've reevaluated like so many of my dynamics in my relationships, and even where I am at currently as far as just pulling myself together, right? I had this whole crazy idea that I was going to pack up everything and leave New York City. And I did that because I found myself at a crossroad of not just dissatisfaction, but a significant amount of uncertainty. And in that space, and from there to now, I've had the privilege of gathering myself, learning a lot about myself and the relationships that I have. And in reevaluating the relationships I've had and how I've had to gather myself, I really understand that the role of motherhood is not actually something that excites me in the same way, just based on the lack of opportunity I've had to be a child myself. And I hope that that makes sense. One of the things that we listen to men talk about, and I might have talked about it before, but I call it the provider's curse, right? It's the notion that you show up every day and you do all of these things, you pay bills and you protect the family, you do all of this, and you kind of aren't appreciated for the things that you do and the significance of how much it means to show up on a regular basis, how much it means to sacrifice your time to, go to work and show up and pay bills and give away all of these things and give so much of yourself to a dynamic, to a family circumstance, right? And just making sure that it's functioning on the day to day. And I very recently, probably like this morning, was thinking about the dynamic of my relationships, both in my family and friendships. And I was like, yo, I've been kind of in this parental role for a really long time. And it's because I've been this version of person that's shown up and that's mitigated stress and interfered when someone was misstepping, jumped in and said, you know what, that bill is going to be really high. How about you join my bill and let me help you out? I would never advise that. And further than that, I've learned that I've made the mistake of pulling people forward and into a space that they are not ready for. And in essence, they've ended up further behind because when you leave them to handle life on their own, they kind of fumble, right? And so after years of showing up in that way, right? Being like the friend and family therapist, being the best, because I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm a financier by any means, but being the most responsible with finances amongst my group, right? And having made it when shit got rough for me, nobody really knew what to do. Nobody really had the capacity to step in and interfere and say, you know what, like, I know that you be cool and you usually got it under control, but are you okay? Like, is everything all right? And I'll give you an example. Recently, right? I'm finishing up classes and whatnot. And I tell you no lie, when I like my brain be really dead ass tired, like it be tired. Like you talking about I'm checking out, I'm falling asleep like at odd times and shit. And I'm like, yo, I'm really tired, right? But I'm reconciling that. Like I'm working full time, I'm in grad school full time, and I'm trying to pump out content. So, and not to mention, I also, so y'all don't know this, but I've also gained mad weight. Like if you look at some of my really, really old videos, you would see it. And it's this realization of like, I got to get it together. But there's more to unpack there. And maybe one of these days I'll share this with y'all. But putting that aside, in that process of me falling off, folks didn't have the capacity to address that. But in this recent incident, right, like in figuring things out and going through schoolwork, coursework, and everything else, my siblings had this wonderful idea to pop up at my crib with mad kids. And it was like, no, we're just trying to surprise you. And it made me realize, I'm like, yo, this is what moms get, right? You know how you go to work and they like, oh, the gift for good work is more work. This is what moms get. Like that's the role of a mom. They'd be like, yeah, my surprise is a bunch of kids. And I'm like, why the F would you think that this is what I wanted? Because this is the perception of what's fulfilling to you. So because you do it well, It's this idea that this is the thing that you want. And it made me reflect on the fact that no, I actually don't want this. Not only do I not want this, I'm realizing that there are certain components of like me that's predisposed to significant anxiety, and understanding that I am relatively excitatory, that this is why I like to do boring stuff. This is why I'm cool with monotony, because I'm always in that state of hypervigilance and over considering what's happening around me, what's going wrong, and that sort of thing. And while I'm here and I'm by myself, I am finally experiencing that spirit of, yo, you got this. Yo, you good. Like, yeah, yo, I got enough. Like, if something were to go wrong, it's like, no, I could take care of it. It's like, oh, no, it's not a big deal. And I don't have to be considerate of a bunch of other people. And this was the moment where I said to myself, yeah, I don't think I want to do the parent thing. Not because I wouldn't be a bomb ass parent, but because yeah, I want my time. I want my peace of mind. I want that excitatory mechanism to chill out, right? Because kids go from being this really cute small thing that you could walk around with that don't really sleep much, which is fine, to being a little person that's trying to figure out life, that you suddenly can't imagine life without them, that you worry about, are they going to make it home from school? Is somebody going to try to hurt them? Are you going to do a good job? And when you think about all of the mechanisms that are activated in being a parent, the choice to be child free is really, as they say, it's selfish. And I'm like, yeah, and it's completely fine, because it's selfish at the cost of, I don't know if I got the emotional, spiritual, psychological bandwidth to do that job. And more importantly, I haven't practiced or existed in my own personal safe space long enough to give it away so soon. And I think that that's a thing that people do, is that they give it away because children become a staple or proof of something rather than an extension of something that you want to do because it's fulfilling personally. So I just wanted to talk a little smack with you about that one. It was something I was thinking about. But tell me what you think. And I'll talk to you soon because we got more coming. Bye.